History isn't always written in the books we grew up reading. Sometimes the most fascinating stories are hidden away, waiting to be uncovered. These aren't just glimpses of the past. They're moments that will astonish, intrigue, and make you question everything you thought you knew about history. Here are the top 50 hidden photos you won't find in history books, each with its own unique, or should we say mysterious, story. Let's dust off the annals of time and start with Number 50. American Anti-Suffrage Union, 1919. In 1919, the Anti-Suffrage Union was the kind of group that might make you do a double take. These folks, including some women, argued passionately against giving women the right to vote. It's as if they thought political equality would somehow derail society, or at least their tea parties. While they rallied with banners and speeches, suffragettes were breaking barriers, enduring ridicule, and fighting for democracy. By 1920, the 19th Amendment shut down the anti-suffrage movement, ensuring women's voices would be heard at the ballot box. Looking back, this moment is a reminder that every revolution has its skeptics, even when the cause is, well, a no-brainer. Progress, as they say, is inevitable, even if some people try their hardest to slow it down. Number 49. Child laborer at a factory window, 1908. This haunting image of a child staring out of a factory window in 1908 says more than words ever could. At the time, children toiled in dangerous conditions for pennies, often working longer hours than adults. The National Child Labor Committee, formed in 1904, worked tirelessly to expose this exploitation, using photographs like this one to spark outrage. Their efforts finally led to stricter child labor laws. But it's hard not to feel for the kids who lived through this era. This young worker's gaze isn't just wistful. It's a reminder of a time when childhood wasn't a given for everyone. Today, it's a stark contrast to a world where we now debate how much screen time kids should have. History is full of moments like these where progress is made, but at a cost. Number 48. The Human Squirrel Scaling Skyscrapers, 1918. Talk about heights of bravery, literally. In 1918, a daredevil known as the Human Squirrel took fundraising to new levels by scaling skyscrapers in New York City to support war relief efforts. Armed with sheer nerve and zero safety equipment, he performed jaw-dropping stunts that left crowds both terrified and thrilled. Imagine dangling hundreds of feet above the ground for charity. This guy turned vertigo into a spectacle. His high-flying antics raised much-needed funds during World War I and cemented his legacy as a fearless fundraiser. In today's world, he'd probably have 1 million TikTok followers and a sponsorship deal. But back then, he relied solely on guts and gravity-defying talent to make a difference. Number 47. Wounded Soldier. Photographed during the Civil War. This photograph, captured by the legendary Matthew Brady, reveals the harsh realities of the American Civil War. Far from the romanticized notions of heroism, this soldier's weary expression speaks of pain, sacrifice, and survival in one of the bloodiest conflicts in U.S. history. Medical practices were primitive, antibiotics were non-existent, and amputations were often the only option for treating battlefield injuries. Brady's work brought the brutal truth of war into people's homes, shattering illusions of glory and exposing the high cost of division. This soldier's story is one of millions, a sobering reminder of the human cost of war. His image endures as a testament to resilience and a poignant call to remember history's lessons. Number 46. Newsy Battling the Elements, 1910. This young boy, soaked to the bone, wasn't just selling newspapers in 1910. He was braving the rainstorm of the century. Days after recovering from pneumonia, he was back on the streets, hustling to earn a few pennies. Newsies like him were the backbone of the daily press, shouting headlines and dodging carriages to make ends meet. Their lives were tough, Their resilience was unmatched. This particular newsie's determination is inspiring, but it also underscores the harsh realities of child labor at the time. It took decades of advocacy to ensure children had classrooms instead of street corners. His story is a snapshot of an era that reminds us how far we've come, and how hard some had to fight for progress. Number 45. Santa Claus in Chicago, 1902. Before Santa became the jolly red-suited icon we know today, he had a bit of an identity crisis. In 1902, Chicago, Santa was spotted looking more lean than plump, and not nearly as red as you'd expect. This version of the holiday hero was still evolving, a mix of folklore and marketing genius waiting to hit its stride. Coca-Cola may have perfected the look in the 1930s, but this early Santa shows the beginnings of a tradition we now take for granted. Seeing this photo reminds us that even legends need a little rebranding to become timeless. So the next time you see a mall Santa, just remember, he wasn't always this polished. All right now, let's move to Number 44. Women awaiting relocation to Japanese internment camps, 1942. The image of Japanese American women quietly waiting to be relocated is as heavy as history gets. After Pearl Harbor, wartime paranoia led to Executive Order 9066, forcing over 120,000 Japanese Americans into internment camps. Many were citizens whose only crime was their heritage. Families were uprooted, lives were disrupted, and homes were left behind, all in the name of national security. The camps were prison-like, complete with barbed wire and watchtowers. These women's resilience in the face of such injustice is awe-inspiring. The U.S. government finally apologized in 1988, but this dark chapter serves as a chilling reminder of how fear can overshadow freedom. Number 43. African American nurses in the U.S. Army Nurse Corps. In 1944, African American nurses in the U.S. Army Nurse Corps broke barriers in a military system that had long resisted their inclusion. Despite the desperate need for medical personnel during World War II, racism kept their numbers low. By the end of the year, only 247 African American nurses were enlisted, a small but significant step forward. These women served with unwavering dedication, often caring for black soldiers in segregated units or POWs, showing extraordinary resilience and skill under challenging circumstances. Their efforts paved the way for future integration of the armed forces, demonstrating the power of determination against systemic discrimination. Number 42. Helen Keller and Dwight Eisenhower. This extraordinary photograph captures a poignant moment between Helen Keller and President Dwight Eisenhower. Helen, the renowned advocate for people with disabilities, approached Eisenhower with a simple but profound request: to meet her. The meeting symbolized more than just a handshake. It was a convergence of resilience and leadership. Keller, blind and deaf since childhood, had overcome insurmountable odds to become a global icon of courage and determination. Eisenhower, a wartime general and president, represented strength and stability in turbulent times. Together, their interaction is a reminder of the human spirit's capacity to inspire, connect, and rise above challenges. Number 41. 3 athletes training for the 1896 Olympics. The 1896 Olympics in Athens, Greece, marked the rebirth of an ancient tradition, bringing athletes from 14 nations together for the first modern games. In this photograph, 3 athletes prepare for the monumental event, exuding a mix of focus and anticipation. With just 241 competitors, all men, this was a modest start compared to today's global spectacle. The training was no frills, no high-tech facilities or sponsorships, just raw determination and a passion for sport. These games included disciplines like wrestling, gymnastics, and track and field, honoring the spirit of the ancient Olympics. The athletes' dedication laid the foundation for what would become a global celebration of human potential, proving that even humble beginnings can spark a legacy. Number 40. Geronimo and fellow Apache prisoners. This striking photograph captures Geronimo, the legendary Apache leader and medicine man, alongside fellow Chiricahua Apache prisoners. Taken after their surrender to U.S. forces, the image shows Geronimo seated in the first row, third from the right. Known for his fierce resistance against colonization, Geronimo was a symbol of defiance and survival during a time when Native American tribes faced relentless displacement and oppression. His leadership and spiritual guidance made him a revered figure among his people and a feared adversary to his enemies. Number 39. Judge Roy Bean holds court in a saloon. Judge Roy Bean was the kind of Wild West figure that feels straight out of a movie, except he was all too real. Known as the Law West of the Pecos, Bean conducted court in his saloon, a place where whiskey flowed as freely as his rulings. Appointed as the sole judge of a remote Texas region in the late 1800s, Bean was infamous for his personality and unconventional approach to justice. His rulings, often based on his interpretation of the law, or lack thereof, made him a legend. Whether he was fining drunks or settling disputes, Bean's courtroom was a blend of law and chaos. This photo captures a time when justice wasn't about order, it was about who could make it stick. Number 38. Child survivors of the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. This haunting photo of child survivors from the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp tells a story of unimaginable loss and resilience. When the camp was liberated in April 1945, over 50,000 people had perished, but 500 children were found alive, clinging to life amid harrowing conditions. Some were relocated to trains or other camps, their futures uncertain but hopeful. These children endured starvation, disease, and the weight of witnessing atrocities far beyond their years. Yet their survival symbolizes the human spirit's refusal to be extinguished. Number 37. Soviet peasants listening to the radio for the first time. In 1928, Soviet peasants gathered around a radio, hearing voices and music that seemed almost otherworldly. For many, this was their first experience with modern technology amidst a life of relentless toil. Living under harsh conditions, their days were dominated by agricultural labor, with little exposure to the outside world. The introduction of the radio symbolized more than entertainment. It was a gateway to news, propaganda, and a connection to broader Soviet ideals. While life for these peasants remained difficult, moments like this showed how technology could spark curiosity and offer a rare glimpse of the world beyond their fields. Number 36. Concentration camp survivors being freed, 1945. This haunting image captures the moment concentration camp survivors were liberated in 1945. As the war neared its end, the Nazis attempted to transport thousands of prisoners on trains, but Allied forces intercepted them. Each train carried 2,500 souls, many barely clinging to life after enduring unspeakable horrors. Liberation brought relief, but also the daunting task of rebuilding shattered lives. Survivors, emaciated and traumatized, emerged into a world that could never fully comprehend their suffering. These moments of freedom, however bittersweet, marked the end of one of history's darkest chapters and the beginning of a long journey toward healing. Number 35. President Lincoln's funeral procession, 1865. On April 25, 1865, New York City streets were filled with mourners as President Abraham Lincoln's funeral procession passed through. The photo captures the somber atmosphere as citizens gathered to honor the man who had led the nation through its darkest hours. Lincoln's assassination left the country grieving deeply, and his funeral became a moment of collective reflection. Draped in black, the procession symbolized both loss and resilience as Americans faced the daunting task of rebuilding a fractured nation. This historic event remains a powerful reminder of Lincoln's enduring legacy as a leader who fought tirelessly for unity and freedom. Number 34. Animals in War, a donkey's contribution. During the war, even animals played surprising roles. This donkey, likely used for transporting supplies, symbolizes the unsung contributions of animals in conflicts throughout history. From carrying heavy loads to serving as companions for soldiers, animals were invaluable on the battlefield. Some, like this donkey, displayed remarkable loyalty and resilience. In fact, animals like dogs, pigeons, and even horses were awarded medals for their bravery. While they had no choice in their service, their impact was profound, and their stories remain a testament to the unexpected heroes of war, those with hooves, paws, and feathers who carried burdens both literal and emotional. Number 33. Al Capone's Depression-era soup kitchen. In Depression-era Chicago, notorious gangster Al Capone opened a soup kitchen to feed the city's hungry. This photo shows men lined up for a meal, a stark contrast to Capone's reputation for violence and crime. While his motives remain debated, some say it was a PR stunt, his soup kitchen served thousands daily, offering a lifeline during desperate times. It's a paradoxical image. A man who built an empire on illegal activities also providing for the needy. The scene highlights the complexity of history, where even the most infamous figures can leave behind moments of unexpected humanity. Number 32. A woman and her dog get matching waves in 1920. In 1920, Miss Agnes O'Loughlin and her dog were the epitome of synchronized style, sporting matching waves that turned heads. Hair trends in the Roaring '20s were all about experimentation, and clearly pets weren't excluded from the fun. This playful photo captures the spirit of the era when self-expression and flair were celebrated. Achieving those waves wasn't easy. It took time, patience, and the kind of dedication only a true pet lover would have. The photo remains a charming reminder that fashion has always been about standing out, whether you're walking on 2 legs or 4. Number 31. Princess, later Queen, Elizabeth in 1942. Long before she became the poised and dignified Queen Elizabeth II, she was just a young princess navigating the complexities of World War II. This 1942 photo captures Elizabeth during her service in the Auxiliary Territorial Service, where she trained as a mechanic and driver. It's a rare glimpse of the monarch in her formative years, showcasing her dedication to duty even before ascending the throne. This period of her life shaped her strong sense of responsibility and resilience, qualities that defined her reign. The image is a reminder that even icons of stability have a history rooted in humanity. Number 30. Liberated Soviet slave laborers. This harrowing photo shows Soviet slave laborers being rescued from a cellar set on fire by a German policeman in April 1945. As Nazi Germany faced its collapse, desperation led to horrific acts aimed at erasing evidence of their atrocities. The liberation of these laborers marked a moment of chaos and relief, a stark testament to the horrors they endured. Many had been forced into brutal labor under inhumane conditions, their survival hanging by a thread. The image captures both the resilience of the human spirit and the unimaginable cruelty of war, serving as a reminder of the cost of tyranny. Number 29. Group photograph of Japanese officers. Felice Beato, one of the earliest photographers to document East Asia, captured this striking group photo of Japanese officers in the late 1860s. Beato's work offers rare glimpses into a world transitioning between tradition and modernization during Japan's Meiji Restoration. The officers, dressed in a mix of traditional and Western-style uniforms, symbolize this cultural shift. Beato's images are more than photographs. They are windows into history, preserving the faces and stories of people living through pivotal times. This particular image reflects the tensions and transformations of an era that reshaped Japan into a modern nation. Number 28. Betty Page at the Beach, circa 1950s. Betty Page, known as the Queen of Pinups, radiated timeless beauty and charisma in this 1950s beach photo. Her iconic bangs and dazzling smile captured the imagination of a generation, redefining beauty standards. Despite her fame, Page was a private person who only modeled for a brief period before stepping away from the spotlight. Her photos exude confidence and joy, qualities that continue to inspire today. This image at the beach is more than just a snapshot of glamour. It's a reminder of her lasting influence on pop culture and the enduring power of self-expression. Number 27. The eyes of the world are upon you. On June 6, 1944, Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy, launching the largest amphibious invasion in history. Known as D-Day, this pivotal moment in World War II marked the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe from Nazi occupation. The bravery and sacrifice of those who fought are immortalized in this haunting image. Soldiers faced relentless gunfire and treacherous terrain, their mission driven by the hope of a free Europe. General Dwight Eisenhower's words, "The eyes of the world are upon you," underscored the magnitude of their task. This photo is a powerful reminder of courage under fire. Number 26. A lone man refuses the Nazi salute, 1936. In this powerful photo from 1936, August Friedrich Landmesser stands defiantly with arms crossed, refusing to give the Nazi salute. While the crowd around him obeys, Landmesser's solitary act of resistance speaks volumes. A former Nazi party member who fell in love with a Jewish woman, his personal defiance cost him dearly, imprisonment and separation from his family. This moment captures the courage it takes to stand against oppressive regimes, even when it feels like the world is against you. Landmesser's quiet resistance reminds us that acts of bravery, no matter how small, can leave a lasting impact on history. Number 25. The only known photo of Lincoln at Gettysburg. This rare image, discovered in 1952, is the only known photograph of Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg. Taken during the dedication of the Gettysburg National Cemetery in 1863, the photo shows Lincoln amidst a sea of people, moments before delivering his iconic address. Though blurry and unassuming, this snapshot captures a pivotal moment in American history. Lincoln's speech, lasting just over 2 minutes, redefined the nation's purpose, emphasizing equality and the sacrifices made during the Civil War. This photograph, small and humble, stands as a visual anchor to one of the most powerful moments of leadership in U.S. history. Number 24. Albert Einstein in his iconic leather jacket. Einstein, often regarded as one of the greatest minds of all time, was frequently photographed wearing his Levi's Menlo Cossack leather jacket throughout the 1930s. This jacket became synonymous with his laid-back yet intellectual persona during a decade when his theories solidified his status as a global icon. Einstein's style, simple yet distinct, reflected his down-to-earth character, even as his ideas revolutionized science. The jacket has since become a symbol of genius, representing not just Einstein's brilliance, but also his individuality. Today, the image of Einstein in this timeless jacket reminds us that even icons have their signature quirks. Number 23. Eleanor Roosevelt at age 14, 1898. In this 1898 school photograph, a 14-year-old Eleanor Roosevelt appears thoughtful and poised, hinting at the influential figure she would become. Raised in privilege yet deeply aware of social inequities, young Eleanor would later channel her compassion into advocacy and public service. By her early 20s, she was volunteering as a teacher for impoverished immigrant children, planting the seeds of her lifelong dedication to human rights. This early glimpse into her life showcases the quiet determination that would define her as one of history's most admired first ladies and an enduring champion of equality and justice. Number 22. Finnish civilians entering a bomb shelter, 1939. As Soviet bombers approached Helsinki on November 30, 1939, Finnish civilians rushed into bomb shelters, bracing for the start of the Winter War. This photo captures the tense moments as families sought refuge from the aerial onslaught. The conflict, which lasted from 1939 to 1944, was marked by Finland's fierce resistance against the Soviet invasion. Despite being outnumbered, the Finns displayed remarkable resilience, leveraging their knowledge of the terrain and unyielding spirit. This image serves as a stark reminder of the fear and uncertainty faced by civilians in wartime, as well as the courage required to endure such trials. Number 21. Recording the MGM lion's roar. This behind-the-scenes photo captures Jackie, the MGM lion, whose iconic roar opens countless films, including The Wizard of Oz. In the 1920s, MGM devised a brilliant marketing strategy by using a lion's mighty roar to symbolize strength and grandeur. Jackie was one of several lions used over the years, but his roar became legendary. The recording process involved careful handling, as these majestic creatures were still wild at heart. Jackie's growl not only became a cinematic hallmark, but also solidified MGM's brand. This photo is a reminder of how creativity, even with a touch of the wild, can leave a roaring legacy. Number 20. Priest conducting Mass for Irish soldiers. In this rare battlefield photo from 1861, a Catholic priest holds Mass for Irish Union troops during the Civil War. Under a makeshift tent, these soldiers sought solace and strength in faith amidst the chaos of war. The Irish Brigade, known for their bravery, played a crucial role in several key battles, despite facing discrimination both at home and within the ranks. The priest's presence offered a moment of spiritual grounding, a brief reprieve from the violence that surrounded them. This poignant image captures not just the horrors of war, but also the enduring power of faith in times of despair. Number 19. Constructing the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty, an enduring symbol of freedom, was a gift from France to the United States in the late 1800s. This incredible feat of engineering required years of meticulous planning and construction. The statue's framework, designed by Gustave Eiffel, was assembled piece by piece, eventually towering over New York Harbor. Its dedication commemorated the alliance between France and the U.S., as well as shared ideals of liberty and democracy. For immigrants arriving in America, Lady Liberty became a beacon of hope. Her creation stands as a testament to the collaboration and vision that turned a gift into an icon. Now, let's head over to Number 18. Wife of Apollo 13. Astronaut James A. Lovell. This iconic photo shows Marion Lovell, wife of Apollo 13 astronaut James A. Lovell, intently listening to a broadcast about the dangers her husband and his crew faced in space. As the world held its breath during the perilous mission, Marion embodied the strength and anxiety of families supporting their loved ones in NASA's high-stakes endeavors. Apollo 13 was a mission marked by incredible resilience, as the astronauts overcame critical failures to return home safely. Marion's quiet determination reminds us of the unsung heroes, the families, who endure their own challenges as they support history-making journeys into the unknown. Number 17. Soldiers and their mule-wearing gas masks during World War I. World War I introduced horrifying new weapons, including chemical agents like chlorine and mustard gas. Soldiers, and even their mules, were outfitted with gas masks to survive these deadly attacks. This photo captures the eerie reality of chemical warfare, where gas masks became a lifeline for man and beast alike. Animals played crucial roles in the war, carrying supplies and serving alongside soldiers in unimaginable conditions. The image highlights the indiscriminate nature of war's brutality, affecting every being on the battlefield. It also serves as a grim reminder of the lengths humanity must go to survive the horrors of war. Number 16. Queen Elizabeth cracking up President Reagan. This lighthearted moment between Queen Elizabeth II and President Ronald Reagan captures the Queen's rare but delightful sense of humor. As the longest reigning monarch, she met with 12 U.S. presidents, building diplomatic bridges with charm and wit. Reagan, known for his own charisma, couldn't resist laughing during her speech, proving that even high-level diplomacy can have moments of levity. This photo reflects Elizabeth's ability to connect on a personal level while maintaining her royal composure. It's a snapshot of two world leaders finding common ground, reminding us that shared laughter can transcend even the most formal of settings. Number 15. Students at an Indian training school, late 1800s. This photo shows boys learning blacksmithing at the Forest Grove Indian Training School in the late 1800s. These schools were part of a controversial effort to assimilate Native American children into Western culture. Students were taught trades like blacksmithing and farming, but at a steep cost: forced separation from their families, loss of cultural identity, and harsh discipline. While skills gained at these schools sometimes helped students find work, the broader legacy is one of cultural erasure. This image, though seemingly innocent, represents a complex and painful chapter in history that continues to affect indigenous communities today. Number 14. Young British girl outside a bombed home, 1940. This haunting photo captures a young British girl clutching a stuffed animal amidst the rubble of her bombed home during the Battle of Britain in 1940. The child's quiet resilience amidst the destruction reflects the harsh realities faced by civilians during World War II. Luftwaffe air raids ravaged cities, leaving countless families displaced and grieving. Yet, images like this also symbolize the unyielding spirit of the British people, who endured unimaginable hardship with courage. Number 13. Brigitte Bardot in front of the Eiffel Tower, 1950s. This stunning colorized photograph captures a young Brigitte Bardot in Paris during the early 1950s, embodying the effortless glamour and allure of the era. Standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, Bardot exudes confidence and charm, her beauty transcending time. As an actress, model, and cultural icon, she redefined femininity and left an indelible mark on French cinema and fashion. This image represents not just Bardot's elegance, but also the romance of Paris in its golden age. Even decades later, her captivating presence continues to inspire, reminding us of the timeless allure of classic beauty and style. Number 12. Tunnel rat in Vietnam, 1960s. During the Vietnam War, tunnel rats were some of the bravest soldiers, tasked with venturing into Viet Cong tunnels armed with little more than a flashlight and a revolver. This 1960s photo captures one such soldier about to descend into the underground labyrinth. Their dangerous missions involved locating hidden enemy forces, disarming booby traps, and gathering intelligence in confined, pitch-black spaces. Tunnel rats faced constant threats of ambush, gas, or explosive traps, requiring unparalleled courage and mental fortitude. Their role, often unsung, played a critical part in countering guerrilla tactics, symbolizing the grit and determination of soldiers in extreme conditions. Number 11. Nicholas II and George V, royal cousins. Nicholas II of Russia and George V of Britain were more than just strikingly similar in appearance. They were close friends and cousins, bonded by their shared royal heritage. This photo captures a moment between two monarchs who ruled during a tumultuous era of global change. Despite their shared lineage, their fates diverged dramatically. George III maintained his throne while Nicholas II and his family met a tragic end during the Russian Revolution. Their resemblance and camaraderie serve as a poignant reminder of the interconnectedness of European monarchies and the fragility of power in the face of social upheaval. Number 10. Anti-fascist militia fighter in the Spanish Civil War. In 1936, Spain erupted into civil war as General Francisco Franco led an uprising against the democratically elected government. This photo captures an anti-fascist militia fighter, emblematic of the fierce resistance against Franco's forces. The Spanish Civil War became a proxy for larger ideological battles, with anti-fascist forces fighting for democracy and social reform. These fighters, many of them ordinary citizens, took up arms to defend their country's ideals. Their bravery became a symbol of resistance against tyranny. Though Franco's forces ultimately prevailed, the militia's efforts remain a powerful reminder of the human cost of fighting for freedom. Number 9. The Great Gamma, undefeated wrestling champion. The Great Gamma, also known as Ghulam Muhammad Bakhsh, was a legendary wrestler from British India, whose dominance in the ring earned him global fame. By 1910, he had become the undefeated wrestling champion of the world, defeating renowned opponents across continents. Known for his immense strength and rigorous training routines, Gamma's legacy extended beyond sports, inspiring physical fitness and discipline. Even into his later years, his name was synonymous with excellence in wrestling. Today, he is remembered not just as a champion, but as a cultural icon who represented resilience and mastery during a transformative era in South Asia. Number 8. MiG-21 crash in East Germany, 1975. In 1975, a MiG-21 fighter jet from East Germany's armed forces tragically crashed into an apartment block in Cottbus. The crash killed the pilot and 5 residents on the spot, leaving a grim reminder of the dangers associated with military aviation. The incident shook the local community and highlighted the human cost of Cold War-era military operations. This tragic event underscores the risks of advanced weaponry in densely populated areas and serves as a somber chapter in East Germany's military history. It remains a poignant reminder of the thin line between technological progress and human vulnerability. Number 7. Lepa Radic of the Yugoslav Partisans. Lepa Radic, a teenage resistance fighter in the Yugoslav Partisans, showed incredible courage during World War II. Captured by the Axis forces in 1943, she refused to betray her comrades, declaring they would reveal themselves through acts of vengeance. At just 17, she was executed, becoming a symbol of defiance and sacrifice in the face of oppression. Lepa's bravery and unyielding spirit inspired countless others in the fight against fascism. Her story is a testament to the resilience of young freedom fighters who stood up for justice, even when it cost them their lives. Number 6. Young boy learning a trade in West Virginia. In October 1908, this photo captured a young boy in Morgantown, West Virginia, learning a trade under the guidance of his boss, who had started working there at the same age. Child labor was a harsh reality of the early 20th century, with children working long hours in dangerous conditions to support their families. While this apprenticeship offered skills, it also highlighted the lack of educational opportunities for working-class children. This image serves as a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made by young workers and the progress achieved through labor reforms that eventually prioritized education and safety for children. Number 5. The Grand Duchesses of Russia. The Romanov sisters, Olga, Tatiana, Maria, and Anastasia, captured the fascination of historians and romantics alike. These daughters of Tsar Nicholas II lived a life of privilege, but met a tragic end during the Russian Revolution. Photos of the Grand Duchesses reveal their charm, intelligence, and close bond, often contrasting with their looming fate. Their story is a poignant reminder of the fragility of power and the human cost of political upheaval. Today, they are remembered not just as royals, but as symbols of a bygone era brought to a sudden and brutal close. Number 4. Buchenwald concentration camp. Liberated in April 1945, Buchenwald was one of the many concentration camps where human suffering reached unimaginable levels. Prisoners faced daily horrors, from starvation to inhumane labor in a waking nightmare that seemed endless. Liberation brought relief, but also revealed the depths of Nazi atrocities. Survivors emerged scarred but resilient, their stories bearing witness to the horrors endured. This moment in history serves as a sobering reminder of the consequences of hatred and the importance of preserving humanity even in the darkest times. Number 3. American soldier inside a church. Amidst the ruins of war in 1945, an American soldier stood inside a European church, marveling at its priceless art and architecture. The juxtaposition of wartime destruction with the enduring beauty of human creativity made moments like these profoundly moving. Churches often served as sanctuaries of hope and reminders of humanity's cultural achievements amidst chaos. This soldier's quiet contemplation reflects the universal longing for peace and the resilience of art in preserving a sense of dignity and wonder, even during history's darkest chapters. Number 2. Actress Betty White, the First Lady of Television. Betty White, beloved as the First Lady of Television, had a career that spanned over 80 years, setting a record few could match. Known for her wit, charm, and versatility, she brought joy to generations of viewers through iconic roles in shows like The Golden Girls. Beyond acting, White was a trailblazer, breaking barriers for women in television and advocating for animal rights. Her enduring legacy is a testament to her talent, warmth, and ability to adapt across decades, making her a cherished figure in entertainment history. Number 1. John F. Kennedy campaigning in West Virginia. In 1960, John F. Kennedy campaigned tirelessly in the hills of West Virginia, connecting with rural communities and addressing their struggles. His efforts highlighted issues like poverty and unemployment, which endeared him to voters. Kennedy's personal approach and charismatic speeches resonated deeply, helping him secure support in a pivotal state during his presidential run. This campaign moment symbolizes his ability to inspire hope and build connections, qualities that defined his political career. It also underscores the importance of addressing the needs of often overlooked communities in shaping a nation's future. If you find this video to be interesting, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.